Stupid people, what is the stupidest thing you've done? The girl of my dreams came back to my place after dinner and drinks. We had been friends for a long time, but never a hint of anything more. I was in a sleeping bag on the floor. She told me, "Hey, you could jump up under the quilt to get warm." And my response was, "Oh, this sleeping bag is really warm." It wasn't until the next day that I realized what I had done. Wow, thinking about this makes me really depressed, sad face. One of my exes and I met in the city. We always went on dates in the city and never close to where we lived. I had just moved to the area. I had heard of the place he lived in, but didn't think it was close to where I lived and never really thought about it. Then I started staying over at his place. And when I was going home the following afternoons, I would take the tram in the city center 20 minutes and then get the bus to my house another 40 minutes. I honestly thought the village he lived in was far from my house, so I took the route I knew. Turns out he lives a 10-minute walk away. I did this like 8 times. Last weekend, my friend asked for a ride across town, since he left his phone at a bar the previous night. Somehow I heard car instead of phone, so dropped him off and drove home. I don't answer calls while I'm driving since I'm a bad driver too, so didn't realize I missed 3 of his calls till I got home. I'm sure there's others, but my memory's going pretty fast as well. Unable to find my phone, in a complete state of panic, sending my friend a text asking, "Dude, did I leave my phone at your place? I can't find it anywhere." He replied, "What are you using to send this text, genius? I have never in my life been so ashamed." Edit. Spelling edit too. To clarify, this was quite a few years ago, before smartphones and Google Voice. We're talking some of the first color screen Nokias here. Back to girl's house after dinner. She has early class the next day, so gets ready for bed, but says I can stay and keep her company for a while. Laying in her bed, she's in silk pajamas, I'm fully clothed. We're just talking. I start running my hand up and down her back. She says, "You better stop that, I'm getting turned on," so I stopped. Like a fucking idiot. After a night of drinking, we went back to my then boyfriend's place to chill. He turned on the TV, but I had other ideas. I pulled the rolling chair away from his computer desk, placing myself between him and the TV. I turned the chair backward, threw my leg over in what I thought was going to be a seductive manner, whipping my hair a little. Ended up putting my foot down on the edge of the wheelie part on the other side, rolled my ankle, and my momentum carried me all the way over to the floor. I hit the ground, the chair back smashed my face, and my nose started bleeding. Not my brightest moment. Tied a couch behind a truck with tow straps. Rode on the couch down a gravel road. Smell burning as couch legs begin to catch fire from friction. Couch leg catches in a pothole and bucks me 5 feet into the air. Have brief moment of immediate regret. Spend next week sitting very carefully as my ass no longer had any skin on it. Not me, but my boss paid for WinZip. Edit. I think I should clarify by pasting my reply to /u/grwoof WinZip. He just came in one day talking about all these zip files he downloaded and couldn't open. He was still using an old version of Windows that didn't natively support zips. Terrible, I know. He says, "Don't worry, I bought WinZip, so I'm fine." I stepped on a rake to see if it flies up like in cartoons. Gave myself a black eye. 2. Turn a hand with a glass of water and upside down to look at my watch. D. Spent half an hour looking for a toy, getting more and more frustrated. It was in my hand. 8. Have an insane blind spot for keys. I lose my keys almost every day unless I consciously put an eye on one specific spot. Forgot. Ouch. Made a pizza in a cast iron pan in the oven. Must have been getting on for 200°C when I took it out and carefully put it on a mat. Turned to do something else for a few seconds. Turned back and instinctively grabbed the pan handle. Not just a touch, a full-on grab. I even managed to lift it an inch or so before the pain hit. I can honestly say it's by far the worst pain I've ever had, and I burst a stitch after my circumcision at 19. Christmas this year. SO's mother is staying with us. Upstate New York, so it's cold as balls. I go out to start the car before we leave for dinner and then come back in. A few minutes later, when we're about to leave, I start patting my pockets and looking around on my desk. SO's mom goes, "The keys are in the car." Cause. It's running. Yup, your daughter is dating a keeper over here. Garage sale. I pull over and go to the carport where I see a lot of boxes laying around and clothes hanging. So I start having rummage in the boxes and looking at the clothes, see a guy in the lounge staring at me, giving me stink eye. I think, how are you going to sell anything with that attitude? Never mind, keep on looking, mostly kids and women's clothes anyway. Guy comes out and says, "Are you right, mate?" I say, "Yeah, just having a look." Go back out to my car. Nothing of interest there. Drive down the street and see another sign, garage sale. Realize the garage sale sign was indicating turn left at the next street. I was eating a strawberry Pop-Tart while spotting a friend who was bench pressing a significant amount of weight in the gym in his basement. While loud, angsty heavy metal was blaring through a boombox, Team America happened to be on mute on the TV facing the bench. Midway through one of my friend's last sets, Gary gave the infamous signal. I giggled, and a big dollop of strawberry mush drool fell from my mouth directly into my friend's mouth, causing him to awkwardly drop the bar on his neck and break his clavicle. I'm not allowed to spot no more. This was my dad, but it was hilarious to witness. He wanted a sandwich, and he got all of his condiments ready. The tomatoes, lettuce, onions, everything. And then he goes to get the mayo out of the fridge. He drops it, and it goes everywhere. Like I'm talking a blast radius of like 4 feet all over the cabinets, getting on some seat cushions in all the crevices. After an hour of cleaning it up, his sandwich is still there. And he's like, I think I have another jar in the fridge. He goes into the fridge, gets it out, and let's just say we spent another 90 minutes cleaning up mayo. For the next month, our kitchen smelled slightly of spoiled/rotten mayonnaise. Me and my cousin were sharing a room at my grandma's. We had just switched out the old TV with a nicer one. Rather than moving it out of the way, we just left it in the hall. Like a couple of lazy dumbass, we figured we'd just move it tomorrow. Cut to 11 p.m. We hear a loud scream and large thud right outside our door. We run outside to find Grandma in a heap on the floor. She was going to bed, but didn't turn the hall light on because she wrongly assumed that her grandsons weren't morons. She bruised her hip, and I still feel terrible about it to this day. TLDR, my cousin and I almost killed our grandma with a TV. Sneezed and hit my head on a wall because I was standing too close. Left my shopping at the till after I went through the self-service checkout. Poured water down my leg, and instead of moving the cup, just let it continue to pour until there was no water left. Thought a bat sonar was called sonic radar. I'm walking to work, dressed as an office drone, dress pants, dress shirt, no tie, wingtips. I see some construction workers ahead, waving frantically at me. What the hell do those guys want? Take one more step. Plop. Right into the wet cement sidewalk panel they had just made. To answer the obvious questions. Yes, there were pylons and warning signs, etc. I was an oblivious idiot. TLDR, I'm that white-collar idiot the construction workers probably still tell stories about. I was moving my ex-girlfriend's bang on and off of her forehead, seeing what she looked like both way, back and forth. Without even thinking, I said, "Man, you need bangs, eh?" She never let me forget that one. In my defense, though, she looked good with bangs, terrible without. Funny story now, she's gone though. After reading this thread, I want to make some mac and cheese. It tasted very bland on the first test, so I added more butter. Still bland. Added more milk. Still bland. Added more of both. Still bland, WTF. Decided to blame it on the Walmart brand of mac and cheese. Ate it all up and go back to wash my dish, and saw the unopened packet of cheese there. Had to come back and tell you guys, or the single guy that notices this down deep. At a job I worked long ago, the crew boss had forgotten he had agreed to give Dave a ride home that night. We cut lawns at various places, and Dave wasn't so good at it. We drove past one of those places on the way home, and he started ranting fucking Dave. He missed half that lawn, and it looks like shit. That guy is as dumb as a rock. Dave quietly spoke up from the back seat. I'm trying my best. It was pretty quiet for the rest of the ride home. I once did the reverse of this. I sat down at a medium-sized dinner table in our college's cafeteria with some acquaintances that I knew, but wasn't too great of friends with. I have bad vision and didn't recognize that one of them was an old acquaintance of mine from junior high back on the West Coast. I knew we were at the same college, I just hadn't run into him yet, and we were like juniors now or some shit. Anyway, I knew those people knew my acquaintance, so I asked them whatever happened to him and how he was doing. I said he was a really nice guy, and we got along pretty well, and that I knew he was studying STEM or something. I then hear this voice diagonally to my right, a couple people over on my blind side. Go you. Hey man, I'm right here, lol. I was pretty embarrassed, but I guess it turned out okay. That reminds me of something like that happening to me. I was sitting on a couch with this girl I knew watching a movie. In the middle of it, she lays down and keeps trying to get comfortable and inching her way towards me. I finally noticed and said I'd get her a pillow and set her up a nice little spot on the other side of the couch. I'm so dumb. Dude, same thing happened to me. Even worse though, partying at a college away from mine. Girl, you can come and sleep in my room if you want me. No thanks, I snore. I don't want to keep you up, girl. It's all good, just come over me. And oh, I fucking snore. Still don't know why I got so defensive. Ouch. We've all been there though in our awkward years. I remember meeting a cute girl at a party in college, getting her number, knowing she liked me, getting invited back to her place, cuddling up and watching TV. She told me I could stay the night. I end up saying I'll just sleep on the couch. She then texts me as we're going to bed saying, hey, you can come up here with me. So I do that. Only I just sleep next to her at the end of the bed, clothes completely on, and nothing happens. But yeah, shit like that happens. Just learn from your experiences, my friend. Edit, I'm in the bed, not at the end of the bed like a dog. And shit, man, people are calling me autistic. I was honestly just oblivious and shy as all fuck. But she was also that way, so nothing really happened. Point of the story is to learn from it and take more risks in the future. I can actually see this happening. I was in Amsterdam and was trying to get directions from the clerk at a store to another store. She gave long, several different trams directions. It sounded just way off, and I kept asking her to repeat it, and if she was sure this was the route she had taken for years. It was literally a 15-minute walk down 2 side streets. I think when people live in larger cities, they get so used to public transportation that they just don't even think of a shorter way. Can relate. My girlfriend mentioned she was making toast, and for some unknown reason, I replied in a talking to a small child type way, aren't you a clever girl? I hadn't meant for it to come out in the condescending shit for brains way it did, and I have no idea why I thought it would sound anything other than stupid/rude. We've been together for 7 years, but that was one of the stupider things I have ever said. Edit, a lot of people commenting that my girlfriend seems overly sensitive for being offended when I said this. Just to point out, I never said she was offended. She was initially surprised thinking I was being super sarcastic/rude. Then we just laughed it off. We have a very jokey relationship anyway. Was commenting to let Opie know that I, too, have the verbal shits at times and say stuff that make no sense when spoken aloud. When I was a kid, I had a genius idea. People are in wheelchairs because they can't lift their legs to walk, right? So what if you tied a length of string around your knee, held onto the other end, and marched yourself around like a puppet? I even named my genius invention. I called it Leg Reigns TM. It never occurred to me that if you were paralyzed, you wouldn't be able to balance. It also didn't occur to me that I wasn't actually lifting my legs with my arms. I was doing it with my legs. And somehow I didn't realize that the reason my dad got me to demonstrate my idea to everyone he knew, one after another whenever somebody came over, was not because he was proud of the towering intellect his son possessed. PE in middle school. We did quite a bit of rope climbing, and it felt great. I didn't really know what was going on, but I absolutely loved rope climbing. I used to be too scared to go to the roof of the gym, but when things started feeling good, I would climb like there was no tomorrow. I asked some of my classmates if they felt the same way, but never got a straight answer. I once lost my phone, so I used my phone's light to search for it. I was in a bus, school trip. I even turned the phone back on when it locked the screen. Good times. Best part is I even asked a friend to help me while I pointed the light to his face. Edit. I get it, people. You made similar mistake. RIP in peace inbox. And yes, I type help. Blame autocorrect. This is my favorite so far. I am in stitches imaging a little girl running full tilt into a mirror and the teachers looking at each other like, oh no, not that again. The best part is that it happened repeatedly and no adult bothered to ask why you were doing this in order to straighten out your understanding of mirrors. And you kept doing it repeatedly expecting that this would be the time you broke through to the other side. You know, Lewis Carroll would say you weren't totally wrong about mirrors, but I've never seen the premise of chirality played as slapstick humor before. Please consider subscribing if you enjoyed. Love.